happening, ladies
He's
and
not
gentlemen? Where's
here.
Nick? Yeah. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Grizzlies in the
Hiya,
house.
Kelly. He's not
How's
even here
everybody
yet.
doing? I know, man.
Hi,
I was going to
everyone.
surprise him. You
Welcome to the
guys,
show.
he just messaged me. He's like,
You guys go ahead and go live. I'll catch up.
that's what he just
We
said.
are good, Kelly. I'm on top of the world because next week is the Crime Show and Frighteners' birthday. A year old, both of them. So proud. So proud.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
Eric.
awesome.
So I'm going to share this out. Grizzly, tell everybody about your week. How's your week been?
Oh, my wig has been fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. If you notice, this is real. It's not fake. See? I actually did not read the instructions, ladies and gentlemen. So, yes, I left it in too long. So, yeah, it's been great. Been fantastic. Enjoying myself.
I'm
Wonderful.
trying not to laugh.
It's been great. I'm living life fully. So, yeah, really am.
So how did you manage to let the time go by?
Amen.
Amen. How did you let the time go by without realizing it needed to come off?
Oh, what? You know how busy I am. So, I put the stuff in. I didn't read the instructions. So what happened was I didn't read the instructions and I got busy. And I was like, "Ah!" I was like, oh my God. So I took all my clothes off, jumped in the shower, and it was like, it's not coming out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm like, the hell with it. Too late now. So yes. That's what happened.
Hi, Well.
and
Hi,
then
Nia.
and then one of my psychics were like, I guess you didn't read the instructions. That's all right, Grizz, because all the women the first time around that ever has done their hair has always messed it up the first time. And I was like, gee, that makes me feel a whole lot better. Thank you.
See what happens when you don't read the instructions.
Thank you, Eric. Well, really?
I don't know what happened. It made me sound like a little baby.
You sound a bit like you look a bit like Jesus.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
So tonight we are meant to be talking conspiracies, but stupid Lois forgot that Nick had said about the Hill Stranglers. So we'll just go with both or whatever rabbit holes we come up with tonight. So while we're waiting for Nicholas to make an appearance, I say about 9:30 he'll come in.
Oh.
While Bill says, read the fucking manual instructions.
I know, Wild Bill. Tell me about it.
God, I love those rabbit holes.
Things happen. I love rabbit holes too, because you never know which one you're gonna pop up in and out of.
So yeah.
So yeah. What's your favourite conspiracy theory, Grizzly, and why?
I have, so in America, we have almost everything in America is a conspiracy. Look at Biden. I mean, heck, UFOs, aliens, Bigfoot. I mean, anything really. There's so many we can look at. Crime wise, there's, we got the JFK, John F. Kennedy assassination. And ladies and gentlemen, it has been announced today on the Wake Nation, the national show that I was on today, that next week, the person that allegedly shot JFK is coming out of the closet. He just got out of jail and he's coming out live, and he's going to make the announcement that he was the one that pulled the trigger. And I was like, do what? So yeah, it's going to be broadcast next Saturday. I'll get the details, and they vetted this guy. This guy's not like yeah. So evidently this guy is the government shut him up. So I don't know if the statute of limitations ran out, whatever they punished him on or whatever they made him sign, and they expired. And I have no idea what's going on. So this is like big news. I'm glad you brought that up, because it just triggered it. Because I about fell out of my chair when they told me that on the show today at noon my time, which would have been 5 your time.
That
So
that must have been a big thing for America after all
yeah,
this time. After like JFK assassinating years ago, and this guy's finally coming out and speaking. Now, America, the CIA must be absolutely shitting themselves.
yeah. Well, you know how the Kennedys got their money, right? The Kennedys got
Yep,
their money from bootlegging, from the
yep.
alcohol. So, and Kennedy did not want to do certain things, but other people in power said, "The hell with that. If he ain't on board with us, then we are going to take care of that." And that's when I think America, our country that I live in, took a turn for the worse and start going in the wrong direction. And that's where
hmm
where we're at today, unfortunately. That's my conspiracy theory. And I think that's the truth, unfortunately. So
I think Kennedy, if I had to have a conspiracy theory about Kennedy, I think it was, I think he had enough, and I think he was ready to open his mouth about everything. And I think Kennedy was no the type of man to back down from anything. And I feel like he was probably pushed into a corner. And I think what also was worrying him, and I think it ties in with Marilyn Monroe as well, because she knew too much. Because let's face it, she was banging both brothers.
yeah, yeah, she was. Unfortunately, that is the truth. And then you can go further and talk about Jimmy Hoffa. So, and we did not find his body because we ate him. Ain't that right,
Where's
Nick?
my
We
boy?
ate Jimmy Hoffa. They grounded his ass up in hamburger meat and shipped him out in America, and citizens consumed him.
What do you think
So
about it, Nick?
About what? I kind of came in the middle of it.
strippers and
About,
everything. When's the last time you
yeah,
had one?
strippers, swingers, just the usual general stuff. No, what do you think about Kennedy's killer being let out of jail and actually wanting to talk about his crime?
Was that recent, or I'm trying to remember when that
So
was?
yeah, so today on the Wake the Nation, the one of the regular shows I do every Thursday at noon, 1 o'clock your time, they told me, they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, since you brought up Kennedy's assassination, we've got the
Yeah.
guy that's coming out of the closet that just got released. I don't know if the statute of limitation ran out. I don't know if the
Yo,
contract ran
sounds
out
like
or whatnot. Um, that he's
they
coming
got
on our show and saying that he shot Kennedy,
Oh, really?
JFK." And I'm like, "What?" And they vetted this guy. So, and I'm like, so yeah, so it's I'm gonna get you all the details. Is this coming Saturday or next Saturday on the show? And I want
Wow.
to see this guy. So
I'm
yes,
I'm
he
going
was
to run
shot.
quickly through the comments. Wild Bill says JFK was not killed in the motorcade. He was in Walter Reed Hospital for a while. I know that for a fact. His shot came from the bridge behind the motorcade. Eric says exactly. Wild Bill says he was killed by the Johnson family because Johnson said he would become president one way or another. Laura says there's a lovely Nick. Wild Bill says I used to be with ASA military branch of the NSA. Hiya Nick. But yeah, I mean it's a really, really interesting one. Is the one with Kennedy. And it'd be very, very interesting to see what happens to this guy after he speaks because let's face it, no offence, but I could probably see him in the next maybe 6 to probably 10 months. He's got to turn up somewhere.
Well, what's very interesting is that, and here comes the legal jargon, police jargon. if we look at the totality of everything in America right now, we're having all these whistleblowers coming forward. So, what is getting ready to happen in America, Nick? What are they prepping us for?
Oh man, it's kind of really hard to say. I mean, at least from my opinion, because I've been struggling to kind of keep up with all of it. So I've had kind of different thoughts and opinions on what it could be. I just can't figure out. I just can't point to just one particular thing that could happen in the future from all these whistleblowers and conspiracies and whatever. It's really hard to say, at least for me.
But you know what this reminds me of, and I think everybody that's listening can relate to this, and it reminds me of Penn and Teller. Everybody knows who Penn and Teller is, and they have their own show right now. Is can you fool them? And I think that's what they're trying to do. I think that's what they've been doing. With golly, I haven't seen that name in a while. Chantilly lace, a pretty face, the hell down. Oh yeah, but yeah, where in the world she been? But no, but
go down the toilet. While Bill thinks America's ready to go down the toilet.
I actually think the U.S. is already in the toilet and it's already been flushed several times, but we are still floating and we're not going all the way down. So I hate to say it that way, and it's very disconcerting. It's very concerning. But what's really the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are sitting here allowing this to take place in our presence.
Mm-hmm.
That's what bothers the F out of me. And usually I don't use any foul language or get excited, but I get very emotional when we talk about subjects like this because I want the truth.
Right.
When we watch that movie, I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Well, damn it to hell, she may not or he may not, but I can. Lay it on the line, brother.
Right.
But a lot of people unfortunately cannot. And that's the problem. But over the years,
you tell Piggy Pies, Chantel.
Yeah, Chantilly lace, had a pretty face, the hell way down. Oh yeah, there we go. We'll play some music for her. So yeah,
Bill says I see another revolution coming.
Well,
Eric says, tell me the truth already. Prove to me what I already knew.
Yeah, well, I don't have crystal balls, so I don't want
to say want to know about your crystal balls.
I knew. That's why I turned my head. I didn't want to look in her eyes when she was going to say that.
He's getting the holy man. He's like, shame on you, women. Shame on you.
Well, I thought earlier she wanted to have a confession. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, no. What did you say? If you had a confession,
if I started confessing my sins, I would turn you blue. You'd be bluer than the Smurfs.
Yeah, there we go. You know what? I'm glad to not take a sip of my tea at that time. It would have been all over my computers and monitors.
Oh, while Bill says I have a few live feeds shut down because of me telling the truth, I've skipped Facebook jail and they sent me straight to Facebook jail. Now, Lil. Hiya, Sarah.
That's why I stream on many platforms. So if they get me on one, guess what? I'm safe on others. But I'm very careful when I do stream because of that reason, unfortunately, because they do censor you. I've actually had people who have lost their platforms on certain or lost their shows on certain platforms because of that reason, Wild Bill. Yes, You're absolutely correct.
Is that because the G word? Because many people are using the G word, and the G word ain't a thing. I don't mean the G thing you were talking about.
Oh, Lord. Well, now, talking the truth, we had one guy that talked about Bigfoot, and his encounter, and he actually had pictures and videos. And not only did the government get involved, so did the Indian tribe and the Homeland Security, and they shut his rear end down quickly and erased his YouTube channel. And
Really?
but guess
Wow.
what? I still got the interviews because they're on other platforms, and I've got them downloaded. So yeah, and he still tore up over that. So yeah, and then they do actually get involved, ladies and gentlemen. Wild Bill's right; they will they'll put you in jail. They I actually have one video we were talking about government stuff, and you got to be careful on one platform. I'm not going to mention the platform, but we got real, and I was like, we're being flagged. I know it, because the CIA they're flagging us. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, I got that notice, and they're like, "Do you want to dispute it?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna dispute it. Are you nuts? Because we didn't do anything wrong." Well, guess what? They're like, "Well, F you dispute it, we're gonna wipe it." And they did. They wiped the whole damn video. I was like, "Oh, that's all right," because I got it on 15, 16 other channels and about 113 Facebook groups. So I got it. But and that's the way they do, unfortunately. So yeah, it's sad. It really is. It's sad. Then they want to talk about freedom of speech and all that, and your constitutional rights and the Bill of Rights and whatever, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah,
that's actually probably something they talk about a lot on one of our kind of neighboring networks, the Bill of Rights network, because I think they talk about that kind of stuff too on that network as well.
Yeah.
Nick, I owe you an apology because I messed up again. I don't know why you just don't take the belt to me for every time that I mess up. Because obviously I forgot we said the Hillside Strangler, and then when I wrote conspiracy theories and you came back to me and I went, "What? No again." I was like, you really need to.
Does anybody think it's kind of, wow, Titan was the first film.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, Chantel, do you realize who was behind or who funded that submarine, or who funded that trip?
Sorry, Nico.
No, I was just going to say, I don't know who funded the trip. I mean, other than the passengers that paid so much money for it. That's all I know.
Rothschild.
Rothschild.
Is that how you say the name right?
I don't know.
This is all new for me. I don't know.
So,
I know this.
Yeah. Yeah. So Rothschilds are the big trillionaire people and so forth. So I think the reason why they did that. Rothschild. Thank you.
Rothschild,
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Is because I think they are going to enact to where they have certain things passed, where they have to have things they have to get through them to get certified and all kinds of other stuff. And didn't they have ties to the Titanic?
I thought they did.
Hi, Nigel.
I could be wrong too, but didn't they have some ties to it?
I'm just saying. So
well, was it no, Nick, that you told me that one of the people aboard, their family was killed in the Titanic?
So the wife of one of those passengers, yes, she is a descendant of a couple that actually died on the Titanic.
Thank you. I'm okay. Thanks, lovely.
Yeah, it was
correct, Chantel.
Yeah, she was a descendant of one of the couples that actually died on the Titanic back in 1912. So yes,
I think like, was it not like the other day or last week that no, sorry, that was shut up, Louise. It was one of the actors had died that was on the played in the Titanic film. Just shut up.
No. It's funny you brought that up because I actually do recall that. I think they actually showed supposedly that couple that died in the Titanic film, although I don't think they really probably made it actually like fully true. Like I think they were lying in their bed waiting to die. I don't think that actually really happened.
That's correct, Wild Bill. Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't say for. I mean, but at the same time, though, we can't say for sure because there's there weren't very many witnesses watching people die in the waiting to die on the Titanic. That's just how they put it in the film. But that couple in that film that dies in bed is supposed to be based on that couple.
Well,
Well, so
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry, you go. No, you first, Beauty.
Oh,
that's a new one.
Blush, yeah. So what's really interesting is that if you look at number one, the CEO or the owner, whatever you want to call the guy, he publicly made the announcement when he developed the Titan. Is like, well, I don't want anybody that's old or gray or over 50. I want the younger generation working on it. Well, duh, no wonder, because everybody that has experience, right, told him that ain't going to work. It's going to fail. And the one that was the younger generation, the kids that he called them, told him, dude, this is not going to work. It's going to work a few times and it ain't good. And what did he do? He ends up firing them. And guess what happens, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, Josh Gates. Yeah. He was like, I'm not getting on that damn thing. Are you crazy?
I actually saw. I might see my dad. He watched. Not trying to get into the political thing, but my dad, he watches a lot of CNN, and that's where I saw Josh Gates' interview. I would never in a million years thought I'd ever see him on that channel, and he was explaining the whole thing. So I saw that interview.
Yeah, he sat in there and he was like, oh, hell no, I'm not going down. No.
Well, look at one of the guys in the UK that's famous. Everybody here, people in America may have heard him as well. There's a gentleman called Ross Kemp. I absolutely freaking love Ross Kemp, right? He's better than Danny Dyer any day of the week. And Ross Kemp was actually supposed to film a documentary on that submarine, but when they did the risk assessment, they felt it was unsafe, so Ross Kemp never went. And obviously, when the 5 people went on it and went down, but yeah, I read that the other day and my jaw dropped, and it just shows you. Because when you think about like close calls, I always remember Seth MacFarlane in 9/11 because he was meant to be on that plane that day, and so was Mark Wahlberg was meant to be on that plane as well. 9/11, when I think it.
It's interesting to think if you look throughout history, and you see these terrible accidents and tragedies that occur. And you find out, that some famous people we know were supposed to be on it, but they ended up changing their minds right at the last minute before there was actually something like that goes well over 100 years. I mean, we had a disaster that happened here in Chicago. This was over 100 years ago, back in 1915. It was the Eastland disaster, which was one of the worst ever, not just in Chicago, but in U.S. history. And this thing, it will definitely be saved for a Nick Files episode. I'll explain it for a Nick Files episode. But one of the people that was supposed to get on this ship, believe it or not, was comedian Jack Benny. But he ended up not going on it. I don't remember what the reason was for it. But
I didn't know that.
Sarah's right.
She is right, yeah. But but he couldn't get on this ship for some reason, but he could have been in a very similar situation again. It's another primary example. You get these big names that are supposed to go on, they don't end up, and then when this disaster occurs, it gives them that message that could have been me on that.
I think it was. I think Seth MacFarlane that day had either he slept. Was it he slept through the flight? He missed the flight. He slept through it. I can't mind, but I can always remember reading about Seth MacFarlane and that. But look at what me and you spoke about, Nick, when we spoke about the last time, when we had a conversation about the 5 people.
Yeah.
How fucking freaky, right? And funny enough, Nick, right? I'm suspicious about TikTok because there's a few things I've spoke about recently that's came through my TikTok. But look at when obviously we were talking about The Simpsons, and
Yes.
you brought up the 2006 episode of The Simpsons, where is it Homer goes
Yeah, it was
down
Homer.
and goes in the thing, and you just think, is like the Simpsons crew or sidekick, because the things that have came from them that have came true.
Well, then there was the other episode we talked about was when Homer was running back and forth to the World Trade Center, and then that was back in 1997, and then just less than 5 years later, 9/11 occurred afterwards. So it's kind of strange that they always, just like the Oklahoma City bombing. Yeah.
It's funny how fast Homeland Security was formed after 9/11. Big Brother wanted their own police force to answer to no one. Exactly. But it is kind of weird how like everything that Simpsons have sketched out seem to come true.
Yeah.
You just think, oh my god, how close call are the Simpsons, and I love the Simpsons.
Yep, so do I. You watch them too, Grizzly, or?
I used to when I was younger. Yeah, my brother and dad, they were into that.
Yeah,
Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead, yeah.
I could never get into Beavis and Butthead. I must admit, Family Guy, American Dad, The Simpsons.
That's what we watched.
And Rick and Morty.
Oh God, don't even start with that. But you know what? Another show, even though I wasn't too crazy either, like with Beavis and Butthead. Although my dad, he watches Mike Judge's other series, King of the Hill.
Oh, I love your dad. I love King of the Hill. That is so funny. I can always remember watching it in Channel 4, and it would be on in the early hours of the morning. Do you know, I actually on YouTube went in and typed King of the Hill, and I sat and watched about 4 hours worth.
Oh my God. One other thing I just wanted to bring up too, like Grizzly, when you brought up Josh Gates, about how he was supposed to go on this and he didn't. For me, that's actually kind of a chilling feeling because I actually haven't really brought this up. Not that I've kept it secret, I just haven't had the chance to bring this up. But I've actually had the opportunity to meet Josh Gates 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago. He made his only appearance, at least as far as I know, that is, at a Paracon. We had him at the Chicago Paranormal Conference, and we actually even went as far because back then, before all these podcasts, I think the only real paranormal shows outside the TV ones are the radio shows. And we used to have a radio. I know that show that Wild Bill's bringing up. We used to have a radio show of our own. And when I used to when I was part of my old team, Midnight Paranormal Society, so we actually had the opportunity to interview him on our radio show. And in case you guys want to know what he's like, he's definitely a really nice guy. He's exactly how you see him on television. He has a really great sense of humor. But now looking back to him originally going on the submersible, it would have been kind of a chilling feeling that somebody I got to meet, who I now know personally, he could have been one of the victims on that sub.
Yeah.
Oh God,
you would have heard me say, I know one of those people. Well, I know one of those people personally.
Yeah.
Always, Bill. Always. Oh, by the way, Nick, I tagged you in something earlier on when I was listening to my music, right? Your song came on.
Which song? Oh wait.
Hypnotized.
Yes. I
Hey, what's happening there, brother Nick? Shaking and baking, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Wiggy,
so.
wiggy, 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 wiggy. Yeah.
knew it.
Do you know when that song came on in my ears? I was like, that's my homeboy. That's my Notorious N.I.C.K.
There was actually a video. I gotta send this to you guys that has that song in it. So immediately when I saw this, of course, I thought of both of you guys immediately, particularly Grizzly, and it's one of the funniest videos I think I've ever seen. I'm like, I gotta send it to these guys. I'm actually looking for it right now so I can send it.
But no, conspiracy theories are really interesting. I love them. I really do like conspiracy theories. I must admit, it's one of my favourite ones. I love sitting watching documentaries on YouTube about conspiracy theories. There's really good ones out there.
Yeah, there are. There really are some good ones, and there's ones out there that make you stop and think, and and there's some ones out there you're just like whatever. But and there are some good there, and some of them are out there that really makes you stop and wonder and make you think about things. So, because there's so much going on in the world and people trying to cover up stuff, and it is what it is. So yeah.
Well, it's even crazy to think too, again, with like, for example, this Titan submersible, that there's people who will also come up with like even more conspiracies involving it. Because when for example, when I posted that angry post I had of me, when I showed my disgust towards Hoff and what he was doing, right after the announcement on the 5 passengers were dead, there was like 2 people already that was like trying to come up with conspiracy theories on it on itself, which was unfortunately more on the political side. I'm not trying to get into it, but it's just crazy to know that people will come up with more conspiracy ideas, for certain tragedies and whatnot. Like the only thing that I'll just say out of it was somebody said like, oh, they'll just show up at an island, say that they're still alive. It's been over a week now. I don't think that's going to be happening ever. So,
Right.
I do think that this is going to be the new conspiracy theory, is the Titan. I think that's going to be like one of the latest ones. When you look at all the is this the prank one that you just sent me?
I was gonna say, did you get my message? It's the video.
Yeah, I looked at it and I tried not to laugh when you were talking.
Watched it already?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at, and I was smiling, but I was trying not to laugh.
You were supposed to listen to it though with the sound.
I'll do that after the show.
It has the music in it.
Oklahoma bombing was an inside job. Eric says, what is the stupid megalodon theory? I'm saying that right, yeah, it's a megalodon, isn't it?
So I don't know where that theory is coming from. That's that theory that megalodon, which is like said to be one of the I think the largest shark that ever existed, is still alive today and is responsible for a lot of these disappearances and stuff like that. When it's unlikely, because it first off, it lived 2 million years ago, and you know what? There's been people who say that there have been reported sightings, photos, videos of it, and
but do you think this is a lot to do with the fact that they brought out the Meg? When they brought out that film, The Meg, with Jason Statham?
Yeah, and I know they have that sequel coming out soon.
Oh, do you know my funniest bit in the movies when the wee dog jumps off the boat and starts paddling? And I'm like, please don't eat the dog. But
yeah, see, that's like what Wild Bill just said. It lived 2 million years ago, and it's unlikely it would probably still be around today. In fact, I mean, like I was saying, a lot of the supposed evidence would actually later turn out to be fake. In fact,
I didn't know that, Eric. Someone came up with that for the sub.
In fact, there's only ever been this is more my cryptid side when I talk about cryptids and stuff. In fact, there's only ever been like truly 2 legitimate sightings of what supposedly was Megalodon. Those occurred 60 to 100 years ago, back in actually off the coast of Australia, back in 1918 and 1960. There haven't been any true legitimate sightings or any other reports like that since then.
Do you think it's because that this is just my thoughts, and I kind of brought this up to somebody in the comments about when it came to the sub. What
Yeah.
people got to remember is that 80% of the ocean isn't explored. So we don't know,
95.
95 then. Right, smart ass. 80,
Good.
95. Who cares?
That was a 95.
It's still a lot. It's still a lot.
Aye,
The
I'll still
problem
lot of the
is
ocean.
that, we look at the sub, right? And the way it was made, okay, it was doomed for failure. I'm sorry to say that. And it's not being disrespectful for the family members of the people on board. We look at the space shuttle. When it comes in and out of the atmosphere, they automatically had to replace things. We look at our airlines that people fly on. They automatically have to have screws replaced, panels replaced, wires replaced because of the stretch and what do you call it when things heat up and
That's
where they expand and shrink and expand and shrink. And
I thought for a second it was like some kind of air pressure, but it's actually
it is.
else. Oh, it is air pressure.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
But and so stress fractures and the stress on materials. That's why they have to constantly have maintenance on these airplanes and aircrafts and so forth. And, was there maintenance done on that? No. They just kept diving and diving.
Well,
and once you start having stress fractures, and that's all it takes. I mean, because you're under, what was it? 15,000, 35,000, 150,000.
It was.
I can't remember the PSI.
It was at least. I mean, for the sub, it was at least.
Exactly, Robert.
It was about
triangle.
It was about 2 miles down underwater.
Yeah,
the
thing
is, it was deep.
Yeah,
they did an experiment. I don't know if you guys seen it, but they done an experiment with a can of soda. Well, a fizzy juice to me, right, but soda to you guys, right? But I think they put it in some water, and it was like I can't remember if it must have been a really cold condition, and the pressure of the can, it was to try and basically prove how the sub imploded. And they think it happened so quick that heaven forbid, the 5 above didn't realise it was happening. It happened that quick.
That's the thing. Actually, Jeremy had brought this up. I think we talked about this on last week's show on Supernatural Talk. When you brought up,
that saying Bill.
When you brought up Grizzly, like I said, like all the fractures and stuff that needs to be repaired on certain types of ships or aircraft or whatever. Perhaps the worst of them all are those like really, really tiny holes. Like even like a nick of a hole. Yeah, like, even like the even if it's microscopic, that could mean the end for everything, basically. So you can't even see that. So those are the ones that are the worst than any other type of fractures or broken parts or whatever. So in this case, that's probably what may have caused the implosion of the ship, and that's when it pretty much kind of collapsed and it imploded on itself.
Right.
Robert said, I watched the TV thing about implosion in human body. All that would have been left is a human matter. Well, they're talking now to say that they've found human remains. Well, possibly human remains. When it came to
that's impossible, because if that was possible, then they would find human remains from the Titanic.
Yeah. And considering I'm sorry, Lois.
On you go, Gorgeous. You first.
Well, I was also going to say, not only just that, but the pressure in that area would probably even go as far as keeping the bodies from even being floating up to the surface. So there's a good, like I've said before, there's probably good likely chance that they may never find them.
No, and as well, what you've got to remember is, right, and this is no me being morbid, right, this is me just speaking the way it is, right, but what you've got to remember is when somebody passes, right? I don't know why I'm crossing myself, right? But you become dead weight. You become absolute dead weight. And I've seen a few comments where it's made me think, are you guys actually thinking these people are going to float up the way? When with dead weight, you're going down the way. You're going down, 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 and down, and down. Because you've got nothing to hold you up.
So
Wow,
the
Bill makes a
reason
good
why
point.
body floats in water is because of the gases and air inside.
Right.
So a good way to test this theory, ladies and gentlemen, is next time you go swimming, go into the deep end and exhale, pull all the air out. You will sink because you have no air in your lungs. And next, hold on the side of the pool, inhale
That's
as much
so
as you
true,
can,
Sarah.
let go, and now you will float. And that's how you test that theory.
Grizzly, I've actually done that theory, in fact, because we have a swimming pool in our backyard. It's an in-ground one too. So we got an area that's shallow and we got an area that's deep. So I've done that, in fact. And you're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Sarah Louise has made a couple of good comments. I've seen it on a road tanker where the load was being sucked off with a pump by the tank wasn't vented. Once the air pressure is complete sucked out and it imploded, the heat from the explosion would be as hot as the sun.
Yes.
And what
Actually,
you
too, while Bill made this good comment too, this is another reason why their bodies may never be found. They would implode in the human body itself.
Mhm.
I
So
mean,
it's
this is-
basically the way to think it really is human spontaneous combustion.
I mean, this is like an area of the ocean that not only humans, but I don't even think any real sea creatures can really survive unless they're like microscopic.
But no, it's definitely one of these ones. But I love the sea and I love watching it. But for the love of money, would you ever find me? See, when I watch things like people that work in oil rigs or work on ships, and you can see the ship going right down and the water coming right up, I'm like, no, I'll stand way back in the land and I'll watch because I've seen a lot of it. I
Wow,
don't
Bill.
do the ocean things to Jaws.
We were just talking about that movie on Fear Fans earlier this week.
Ah, but yeah, there was I've seen a lot of it on TikTok because obviously I watch a lot to do with tsunamis, so it ends up at like it shows me about ships and big waves and things like that. And I'm just like, oh no, Robert. The MythBusters tried to create when a ship sinks, it drags you down too. It's false. Sarah Louise says if the water was drained, we would technically be on a mountain. That's true, honey. Oh, for God's sake. Don't you come in here and whine, boy.
Well, you also have to remember, and this is actually something if you look back thousands, if not millions of years, like you look at here in America, or if you look at certain like countries and continents, that some areas were once part of the ocean. Like not all of this was always land. I mean, yes, we all were one continent at one supercontinent at one point, Pangea, and then over millions of years we broke apart. Some areas of the ocean were eventually no longer submerged. So there's been parts of our own respective countries where the oceans have been drained. And yeah, Pangea, exactly. Wow, Bill. So
Nick,
so
I've got a question for you. Do you prefer your steak or is it that cold meat?
Wait, what?
Do you prefer steak or cold meat? Tell that man you prefer steak, but the two deal.
Oh, jeez.
That did not sound what it sounded like at first. I was like, whoa.
That's what I was thinking.
I was like, yeah. I was like, well, that's something to ask somebody on the air. Okay.
Yeah.
Bri, the term conspiracy really means cover up. It does, Bri. But yeah, I went on last night to share Nick Files because I'm trying to share everybody's show as much as I can. And I thought for a laugh I would tag Scott and say, obviously, about Nick being Team Lois and certainly no Team Scott. And one of the things I said was, why would you can have steak? Why have cold meat when you can have the steak? And I put hashtag Team Lois. But I must admit, Nick, last night I really, really enjoyed your presentation.
I was gonna say, I think that was your first. I think that was the first time.
Aye, that's the first time that I came on. Do you know what it is? I miss it every time because I end up sitting in a trance, or I'm too busy thinking about what I'm going to do for the next show, or what am I doing that week, and then I'll miss it and I'll be like, fuck, and then I'm like, no, I really need to make an effort. So that, Lois, you're upsetting the veggies. Vegans.
The vegans.
Right, I'm sorry, would you prefer apples or would you prefer oranges? Is that better? I know, I was shocked too. Shut up, Eric.
Well, I gotta say though, I mean, I really did appreciate you coming in and checking out the show.
Oh my God, Nick, you're there. Piss off, Baldy.
Well, and he was there too on Nick Files, and that was actually even funnier because Grizzly, if you didn't know, I was doing my show yesterday with Nick Files, and when I'm doing my presentations, it's not like what other shows here on StreamYard, but like when it comes to the feeds, I can't see them when I'm doing this, unfortunately. So but however, the slideshow I was doing was a relatively shorter one. So I do my slideshow. I'm completely oblivious of what's being said in the chat right now. And I go back. I mean, I finish up the presentation. I go back to the chat before I get to my next one, because what I always do is if I have more than one slideshow, I check the feeds real quick just to see who's been speaking, what's been said in the chat. And all of a sudden, there's this big argument or battle going on between Lois and Scott. Like, what the hell did I miss?
Well, we're fighting for the love of Nick, but I know Nick is Team Lois, and he's like that. Fuck Baldy. Well, Bill, all my steaks are grass-fed, so that means I'm a vegan eating plant-based meat still. Scott, I won, Nick. I did you shine, Mr. Baldy. Anyway, I can't call MD Baldy anymore because that's not PC now. You're not allowed to call MD Baldy because that can be seen as sexual harassment.
Seriously?
Yep.
I read that
recently. I read that recently. My jaw dropped. Wow. I was like, the world's going fucking nuts. So I can't call MD. Yes, it's PC. Absolutely correct. So that means Grizzly, I can't call you Baldy.
We had this conversation before we were live, didn't we?
Oh, something happened before I came on. I could tell.
Yeah.
Why do you think Grizzly looks so traumatized every time that you come on?
Yeah, I tell you.
But I was saying to the guys at the start of the show, what you missed, Nick, was that it's our birthday on Monday.
Yep.
For the two shows, for Frighteners and the Crime Show. So next week's a party. We're having a party. But now, Bill says I'm not a baker, a sugarcoat, nothing. Guess his beard is blacker. Oh, don't even ask me.
I was going to say, it looks darker today.
It is.
I like it.
It's a long story. Yeah, I know, right? I didn't read the damn instructions.
Well, hey, just be glad, Grizzly, just be glad use that. At least it was not Gorilla Glue.
That's
right. It was just for men. It was.
Yeah,
it was.
Well, there was a lady who thought Gorilla Glue was hairspray, and she
oh my
did it.
god, how the hell can you confuse? And I actually seen that video, and she was actually knocking her hair. She was actually knocking her head like that, and you could hear
she said she used like different types of shampoo. She even used cooking oil and other types of oil. So that's
god.
That's why her hair looks so shiny as a result of it.
In that case, you know what I'm going to do after the show? I'm going to dip my hair in cooking oil and see if it brings up a shine.
That reminds me of Richard Pryor.
I always like saying this because I heard this from someone else when it comes to that person who used Gorilla Glue in her hair. They're like, yeah, there was a lady who did it. She's famous.
Sarah Louise.
She's famous for it, but they often correct her. They corrected him saying, well, she's infamous.
But yeah, so you've dyed your beard as black, and I'm going for red. I really want to put my hair back to strip it red. I know it sounds weird because that's what they called Rihanna's colour for a while, was stripper red.
Stripper red? I didn't even know that was actually, there was like a name by that red for it.
Stripper red.
Then I have to redo my eyebrows again.
But you do realise what's going to happen. You redo your eyebrows and they'll probably turn ginger. And then you look like a Jaffa cake. Being nice will give you a shine Wild Bill. Chris, if you want to help the look of the colour, use some beard oil to put a shine on it.
So I did that on one of my shows. I've got a lot of beard products, right? And with the background and stuff, it looks funny. It looks like I got damn glitter in my beard. That's why I don't. That's why I don't do it on the shows. So yeah.
I was gonna say, does anybody ask you, like, say, did you put glitter in your hair?
Yeah, right.
If Grizzly is in the mood, someone will show. Grizzly.
They probably would. They probably
Grizzly.
would.
See if I ever come to America, can I bring my straighteners? I really would love to straighten your beard. I want a man that will let me straighten his beard.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah,
I actually do want to straighten it. I know what else I like to. I would love to sit and pleat it as well. I know, I'm sad. I've got a sad life.
Oh Lord, I look goofy. At least you didn't say cornrows.
Yeah, corn.
It's like, oh man, we could always braid it. We always could, Eric. Few 5 will make it look natural. But yeah. So we've went down many rabbit holes tonight. We've talked conspiracy. We've talked about pleating, straightening Grizzly's beard. I love these shows. These shows are just awesome.
You know what's going to happen now, Grizzly? You better be prepared, because we actually had this happen for someone else, and that's actually Jeremy. Was a lot of times whenever everyone up for the longest time actually talked about Jeremy's beard a lot, and they always had the desire wanting to just grope that beard basically on him. And I was going to say, Grizzly, you better watch it, because you might be next.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Grizzly, see if you've still got that by Christmas. I suggest that you decorate it with bulbs.
Balls.
No, bells.
Oh, bells. I was like, you don't want to, you ain't put balls on my chin? That sounds really nice.
And make him look like Santa Claus.
Grizzly, I love you, really.
Yeah,
you know
awesome.
Oh, Oh my God! I can see us in church together. You definitely get us throwing our asses out.
I did.
They would.
I should probably say, well, you know what? No, we'll talk about it backstage. I don't want to say it on the show. At least not
Grizzly,
yet.
if the PM Bill.
Viking ruined beard beads. Those actually exist.
Yes, they do. Yeah. Yes, they do.
Oh, poor Grizzly. Poor Grizzly and his beard.
It's all right.
You know what? Believe it or not, I actually did
It is soft though. It's very soft.
I actually did have a beard myself a few years back, although I didn't.
I did. I noticed one of your pictures, Mr. Nally, and I've always been, and I've seen it, and I was like, that ain't Nick. Let me see that picture.
Me all right.
It's like, oh, I must admit.
See,
guys.
Make a long story short, after it kind of evolved. It's like after I turned 21, I decided to just kind of grow a beard, just like on the chin area, like nothing else. And I decided then 2 years later, after I was 23, I decided to grow a mustache with it. And then when I reached 25, I was going to have the whole thing grow out. But Tom actually was the one who suggested I think it was about a year. Yeah, by the time I was 26, he's like, Nick, you should probably actually get rid of that. I was like, well, why? And he said, well, you still have your relatively youthful appearance right now. I mean, you don't look your age, and you should be cherishing that youthful appearance because you're not going to have that forever. So I took it I took it upon myself, and I shaved it off, and that's what it's been ever since.
What are you send me pictures of?
I want to look like Eric wants to look like Grizzly.
Wait a minute. While Bill's saying he's sending pictures of brass, I know what brass means.
I don't think I want to know.
I don't think I want to know either.
Oh my God.
Wow. This conversation took a direct turn.
Yeah.
Well, Grizzly, I think after the show you should go lie down, dark room, and sweat on that.
That don't even sound good.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, oh, I was like, somebody says I got a pair, bro. Okay, all right, beads. That makes me feel a little bit better. Better. I can't even talk. He's got me laughing.
I was going to say your face went whiter than white.
Yeah, I'm
mine's always white,
yeah.
I can't bloody see your face. You're always black and white.
Me?
Yes, because of your Nick files. Oh, Nick, talking about Nick files. Can you send me your logo, please, so I can put it on the collage for the cover photo of the group? Guys, 2 seconds. All right, aye.
Oh, and
sorry, I got a bit distracted there. If you send me your logo so I can add that on, for everybody that doesn't know, we've got a group that combines the crime show, the Frighteners, and the Nick Files. You should check it out, guys. I'll put the link in tonight's chat, and feel free to come. Amen. Do you know I'm going to end up saying that myself? Like, amen.
That's right. You need it.
Yeah, I mean, especially after that, that's one of those things. I might have said this before, but that's one of those things where I think I need to go read my Bible afterwards. After that, I know there's one around here somewhere.
Nick, there's a difference between what you class as the Bible to the actual Bible. I know what you're reading. Don't you forget it. Oh man. Well, that brings us to the end of the show, guys. Oh wow, what a night. Join us next.
I actually did have
Hey!
one quick.
Good,
I actually
never
have
mind.
one. I have actually one quick announcement that's coming up. It's actually just worth
Right,
bringing.
you go for it, love.
I'm actually doing this more for Jeremy than myself, but Jeremy,
Is he okay?
No, Jeremy's fine. It was something that he's starting to kind of spread word about on different shows, and I thought it would be appropriate that we start.
Carry on.
We got the this isn't until I think it was. Hang on 1 second. I should have got this up. Give me 1 second here, guys.
Robert
You're
said
fine.
negative. Robert said negative. Robert said negative. Negative.
Rita says, Hail Mary, full of grace. We'll all be saying our prayers at night. We'll be like lying down in a dark room. Oh, fuck.
All right, so here it is. Here's what I was looking for.
Do you, Bill?
So we got coming up is we got the paranormal giving tree coming up. It's going to be July 15th, and it's a I can't really say it for too many folks because like a lot of Gary, oh my god, long time no see.
What?
It's been a while since I've spoken to Gary. Although I just saw him a few weeks ago when I had to jump on that other show before I came on here. But anyways, so we got the paranormal giving tree coming up, and not necessarily it's really something that you can actually go to because the locations that are featured, they're in different states. So what I'm going to read real quickly is it's a free paranormal investigation for our first responders. It's also kind of like for our veterans, that type of thing. And all participants must register for a ticket. But yeah, it's for veterans basically. And I think we're going to be doing this as a live event. I don't really have too many more details. If you guys want to know more about it, we're obviously I'll be on later tonight on Supernatural Talk. I'm sure we're probably going to bring it up, and Jeremy's got more information on it than I do, but that's coming up July 15th. I'm not sure if it's going to be filmed entirely live, but we'll see how things go. But we got 4 locations that are featured.
Good luck, my friend.
We got 4 different locations featured in 3 different states. So honestly, we actually are always trying to find more places to add to the giving tree. And of course, not just here in America, but also for other countries too. We're over the last couple of years, we've been trying to expand on other places. I've even tried getting a few locations here in Chicago involved, but it hasn't been successful. But we got that coming up this July 15th, and also later tonight on Supernatural Talk. Lois, this might be something you may want to know. We got guests coming on. We're actually having, ironically enough, Ernie and Denise Pack on of Pac-Man Paranormal.
Oh my god, I love Ernie Pack. I will never ever forget that show. But we done a show, guys. I'm going to try and dig it out for you because I'm trying to gather all my lives, even X ones that I've done, to try and put onto the group so that you guys can watch all the lives. We did one with Ernie Pack about saving the Waveless and Emporium, and it was one of the best lives I've done.
Definitely.
I love
Grizzly,
Ernie.
you know who they are, right? Ernie and Denise?
No, sure don't.
Oh, they live down in your state. They live down in Kentucky in Louisville. So
you gotta hook me up with them.
Yeah, definitely we will. Unfortunately, I don't know if you got I know you're just getting to know them, Grizzly, after revealing, but Lois, I don't know if you heard. Unfortunately, they're no longer working at.
Yeah, I read Ernie's. I did read Ernie's status, but I can't remember if I commented or not. See, the problem is that Facebook. This is why I have to actually sometimes go into people's profiles if I want to see something, right? Is because Facebook has changed settings once again, right? So I'm missing quite a lot, because like groups are coming up, pages are coming up, and it's like I'm missing quite a lot. So please don't be offended if I don't like or comment, or it takes me days or weeks or months to comment, is because Facebook changes the settings all the time. And it's like, here's prime example, right? My friend lost her cat, but I didn't know till 6 weeks later
Oh, really?
because
Wow.
because she stays in a different part of Scotland, and because Facebook changing the settings all the time, and all I was seeing was groups, 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 pages, 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 that I missed everything. Like literally, I miss everything. So please don't ever be offended and think that I'm being an asshole. I'm no. Probably 9 times out of 10, I just don't see it.
Right, right. Yeah, you know what? That actually just happened to me yesterday because I didn't want to say this on Nick Files last night, but we actually have I have one of our other loyal fans who also lives in the UK. Her name's I don't know if you know who she is, Lois. Her name's Rachel Goodwill. She's actually I think she's with the Para Unity Network, and the routine is whenever I do my shows, I don't ever really say it on the show, but she somehow doesn't always get notified about my show, so I always send the link to her so she could tune in. And when I did last night, again, this is what I did not mention. I found out that a family member of hers passed away a few days ago, and I didn't know. I somehow, and she wrote it down on Facebook, but somehow I did not see it. So I felt, if you see a part of my show last night, you see I kind of stopped talking for like a second. You see like this brief surprised look on my face. That's when I found was that message I got. No, it's not me to feel sorry for. It was for someone else. So it was it was, that really took me by surprise. But yeah,
Also,
I've had that issue too.
Also, I just want to point out as well, because I'm getting a lot of people coming to me about notifications about groups that people are noting our lives when they're starting. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and add people on my Willow account, so when it does come up, then I can start tagging and letting you guys know when the lives are on, because unfortunately, when that happens, that's out of our hands. There's nothing we can do about it. Again,
it's just that thing that if Jeremy was on right now, he would tell you guys, Facebook is just being stupid.
Yeah, I totally think me. So please don't be offended, guys, because and as I say time and time again, see if you miss a show, or you miss half of it, or you catch the ending of it, don't worry about it. The show's always going to be there. It's no going anywhere unless, of course, Facebook hates me enough to say, "Ha, to you, Lois." Then I'm still going to be here, guys. Can I mean? What I tend to do is I try and share it out as much as I can around the group, and I put it on to Willow's page, so that everyone can see it as well. But again, it's our hands. My hands are tied because of Facebook. So I'm trying to get round to letting everybody know when lives are on and things like that.
Right.
Again, Facebook has been a total and utter. So I do apologise, but I'm thinking of your friend Nick. Definitely, I'm absolutely.
Yeah, my prayers go out for her because it's really in her heart. So of course I messaged. I felt bad that I couldn't respond back to her when she told me about this because, understandably, I was doing Nick Files. I couldn't just, if I had like a video or something running during the show, I would have responded quickly. But unfortunately, I just couldn't stop what I was doing and message her. So I had to message her. I think it was like about 2 hours later. So, understand. I gave my complete condolences to her.
Oh, definitely. But yeah, next week, guys, tomorrow, sorry, in Frighteners. I'm going to put a question mark on the guest.
Oh, I know who it
I'm
is.
not-
I remembered this
Yep.
too. And we have
Yep, but I don't.
we have Denise Pridemore coming on.
I'm not so sure because I've
Oh.
messaged her and I've
Oh.
not heard back. So waiting now to check my messages just in the off chance.
Well, there might be a possibility that it might be. I know they were moving down to Florida. I don't know if they're still like unpacking or whatever. It might be the result of the move if she hasn't responded to you.
Well, if push comes to shove and she can't make it for moving, that's fine. The show will still go on. But I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about. Just talk about the first rabbit hole that comes. Grizzly, is there anything you want to add, my dear? Do you want to promote your shows?
Yeah, make sure to check me out on Grizzly Chris on Facebook, YouTube, Grizzly on the Hut, ladies and gentlemen. Getting ready to go live here in 14 minutes. Yeah, but no, I love going live with you guys, especially when we're not getting naked.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome having you on here, Grizzly. All the time.
Yeah, I enjoy. I really do. I do. I have a ball with you guys.
But I'll definitely have to get you hooked up with the Packmans because I think they're fantastic and they probably don't live too far from you. If I'm correct.
No,
So,
not at all. That'd be awesome.
You'll have to definitely have them on your show at some point.
Yeah.
I definitely what to do is try and organise Ernie again for the way that Frighteners is sitting now. I wouldn't give them a date to September.
That's fine,
and because I loved having Ernie on, he was a really interesting guy.
I know you didn't meet his wife, but both Ernie and Denise, they are just amazing people. And in case you guys didn't know, they actually do have their own show that they run. They don't run it frequently or as frequently as we do here on this network or like how other shows do. I guess I actually at one point we did actually offer them wanting to join, Things Network, but not necessarily they declined it. They appreciated the offer, but I think as of right now, they want to stay as an independent show. And if you guys want to check out their show when they do have it, it's on Sunday nights. I believe that's 7:00 my time. I believe that's 8 p.m. your time, Grizzly. And they usually run for about an hour or so. So yeah, they do it on Sunday nights.
Awesome.
And the show is called, and I almost forgot. The show is called, forgot to put the name out. Their show is the same as their team name, Pac-Man Paranormal.
Oh, definitely. And what to do is I'll type that name in. Right, guys, I'm going to call it a night with the show because my battery's sitting at 4%. So 3% now. But I'll speak to you guys and we'll end the show. We'll see you tomorrow night.
See some of you guys later tonight.
Okay, bye, guys.